Hey, how's it going? My name's Lockie, and you are watching another Coastwatch Football A-League live watch-along. Today, we are watching Melbourne City taking on Newcastle Jets. A pretty big game for both teams, even though it wouldn't seem like it on the face of the game. These two teams at opposite ends of the table, but both teams need to win for varying reasons. What I'm most excited to see heading into this game is which side is going to get up to it, because both of these sides have sort of been struggling for form a little bit in recent weeks. You saw City drop points to MacArthur last time around before the international break. Newcastle Jets desperately need to win. They're winless in the last 4 games, and with teams around them winning games, we're seeing West United, Sydney FC. They both teams picked up a point last night. Perth Glory grabbed 3 points. Melbourne Victory getting a win as well. Newcastle Jets could easily slip down, and look, it's going to be a really fascinating match. First of all, let's have a look at the lineups before we head into kickoff. We're about, 15 minutes away from kickoff. That City lineup is probably incorrect. We're guessing they probably won't be playing a back five. Scotty Jamieson has been lining up in a midfield role, replacing Richard van der Ven, who's been injured the last couple of weeks. But he's been performing pretty well in a role that he's not really used to playing. He's obviously usually a left back. But Nuno Reis, Thomas Lam is back in the lineup for City, has had a superb season for the ladder leaders. Curtis Good, Geordie Boss. Of course, back from Socceroos duty, Geordie Boss, as is Marco Tilio. Aidan O'Neill as well, of course, had a fantastic couple appearances for the Socceroos during the break. Barisha, Naboot, and McLaren starting for City as well. So that is pretty much a full strength starting lineup for City, but maybe, of course, no Lecky and no Richard van der Ven. For the Jets, this is a really strong lineup, and this headlined by Renan Piscopo. I think when you look at what Piscopo brings to the Jets, it's something that he brings something that no one else in their side really has, and that's a bit of flair, that's a bit of excitement, a bit of creativity. He's going to be playing probably off that left-hand side, Costa Grozos playing through the middle. But this is a Newcastle Jets side that has goals in them. Bahagia has grabbed a handful of goals this season. Mikkel Datsi maybe not having the season that he would have hoped for. And at back four, again, it hasn't quite clicked for Arthur Papas. He's been chopping and changing a little bit here and there with his back line. This is what he's run with: Aquilina, Jenkinson, Matty Yerman, and Dane Ingham. Michael Ware, of course, starts in goals ahead of Jack Duncan as well. So when you look at it on paper, City should be getting the win, and let's have a look at the ladder now, actually, and how it stands. City still on top, only by a point. And of course, next week on Wednesday, right, they'll be doing they'll be replaying that the Melbourne Derby. Oh, I shouldn't say replay, restarting the Melbourne Derby, kicking off from, what is it, like the 22nd minute, which is going to be so bizarre. That's happening next Wednesday. But if City don't win this game, even if they pick up a draw, Adelaide are within 2 points there. And Victory, who are on a little bit of decent form at the moment, 2 wins in the last couple of games. It's going to be really fascinating to see. Especially that Melbourne Derby next week. Of course, obviously Melbourne Victory won the last derby last time around. So this is even though it's first versus ninth, this is a big game. City shouldn't be slacking off in this game. This is one that Jets certainly could get a result out of. Barry's in the chat. How's it going, man? Fortnite as well. I'm doing well. We're here with our chamomile tea. Really rainy day here on the Central Coast of New South Wales. Lucky there's no football here. Of course, I saw Central Coast Mariners get a big win against Brisbane Roar yesterday. Fantastic result for the Mariners. And let's have a sneaky look at some of the results from across the weekend. It's been a really good weekend, hey, of A-League football. Friday night. Spicy one, huh? 3-2. Adelaide with the win over Western Wanderers. Huge game. Obviously, plenty of controversy at the end of that one with Marcelo's red card. That little scuffle at the end of the game. And that's right. Brisbane Poor, more like it, dude. Watching Brisbane Roar like in person. That was the first time I'd seen Brisbane Roar play in person this season. Man, they're so. I don't know what it is. They're just like, watching them is so disheartening. And I'll tell you what it reminds me of. Watching Brisbane Roar reminds me of watching the Mariners like 5-6 years ago, where we were consistently finishing at the bottom of the ladder, and not only were we playing poorly, but the players just weren't interested. And that's what I noticed from most of Brisbane players. I say most, not all of them, but most of Brisbane players, there's a sense that the season's already over. And the reason why that's so concerning is that there's teams around them who are still sort of like optimistic. I mean, look at Melbourne Victory getting a huge 3 points away to Wellington Phoenix yesterday. Brisbane just aren't playing with heart right now. They aren't playing with that kind of spirit. Yeah, they did pick up a win, against the reigning champions West United last week, but the wins have been few and far between. They failed to establish any sort of consistency, and that hasn't been the storyline just for this season. It's been the storyline for the last couple seasons. So it's going to be fascinating to see how, what Brisbane do next. They're one of the sides heading into next season that we're going to be really interested in terms of seeing what they do there. I think they need to go through a full rebuild, Brisbane Roar, in terms of the personnel there. It's really worrying, really worrying. Of course, West Mariners picking up a 4-1 win in that game over Brisbane Roar. As we just mentioned, Wellington Phoenix 1, Melbourne Victory 2. That was a huge 3 points for Victory, a team who are still within touching distance of the top 6 as we look at the ladder here. Look at that. Melbourne Victory, 24 points. Sydney FC, 28 points in 6th place. Still just 4 points away. If Victory win the derby, it's going to become really, really interesting. That top 6, that chase for that sort of that 6th spot. You'd imagine those top 5 sides are locked in. I mean, Wellington Phoenix, you can see have lost their last 2 games. Wellington Phoenix could slip away, but those top 5 sides should be playing finals. It's going to be a matter of who takes that sixth spot. Another result last night, we did see Perth Glory defeat Macarthur 2-1 with a couple goals in a few minutes there. Important win for Perth Glory, considering that they've been struggling away from home, as they usually do, Perth Glory. And of course, the 3-3 goal. That was the other one I didn't mention. The 3-3 between Sydney FC and West United, which Western. I mean, I thought Western should have won that game, and I thought Western were the better side in the end. Robbie Mack rescuing it for the home side late on. Fortnite says, can't believe Mark Redan tried justifying Marcelo's red by saying he was born that way. I guess he was just trying to explain, because it was really the thing with Marcelo's actions at the end of that at the end of the Wanderers Adelaide game. It was really bizarre. It was really unusual. He's the captain of the side. He's the leader, and he's been very vocal on social media and everywhere. Basically, there's plenty of talk around that Wanderers side, and the sort of the spirit there, and the camaraderie and the leadership that Marco Redan and Marcelo provide, being to that team, to that club, being the captain and the coach of that side. It was really, I thought it was really out of character for Marcelo. I mean, we saw him pick up a red card about a month or so ago against the Mariners with a dangerous tackle. Look, he plays with heart and he plays with passion, but his actions just weren't. Yeah, just you don't want to see them on a football field. It was really, really bizarre, and he didn't really have to get involved as well. Val Hoon just mentioning this one a couple of moments ago. That's what happens when there's nothing to play for at the bottom of the table. Well, there is plenty to play for. I mean, the big one being the Australia Cup playoffs. Which I think people tend to forget about, but it's a massive. I think if you're an A-League side and you're not playing in the Australia Cup, that's a bit of it's not a good look. It's not a good look on the club. And we had a couple sides miss out in the Australia Cup last year, of course. Melbourne Victory, Brisbane Roar, Macarthur FC, Newcastle currently sitting in those bottom 4 spots. So yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see who jumps up, who's going to be the one to rise up. Just the amount of inconsistency. If you look at the sort of the wins and draws of those bottom sides, some of them have been picking up wins here and there. Brisbane have won their last 2 home games. Melbourne Victory with 2 wins in the last 2 games. So yeah, man. Anyway, plenty of stuff going on. The game we're talking about today is Melbourne City, Newcastle Jets, which is going to kick off in just over 5 minutes or so. So as we mentioned here a little bit earlier, Melbourne City probably not playing a back 5, but we'll see. We'll see. Tips for the game. Drop them in the chat right now. Predictions. Go. Because I don't think it's a straightforward game. I don't think it's a straightforward prediction. I don't think this is a locked win for City, just because they're sitting on the top of the table. this is a chance for Newcastle to. This is their turn, man. I mean, all these teams in the bottom six have been grabbing wins here and there. Newcastle Jets need to step up if they're going to play finals. So if they're going to win here, they're right back in it. Spencer says City 6-0. Dude, I mean, like, even though I'm sort of like trying to balance it out a bit and being like, oh, Newcastle could win. I mean, I also wouldn't be surprised if City do run away with it and win 6-0. Newcastle at times do have a leaky defense. Pumpkin says City easy win as well. I'm gonna go for a City 3-1 win. City 3-1. I think with Piscopo on the field, Bahaja as well on the wing, Mikuladze up top, there should be a goal in it for Jets. But yeah, I don't know if I'd go as far as Spencer saying 6-0, but yeah, man. And Pumpkin also says Jets season is washed. I mean, the way they've been playing, it's hard to see them making finals. So this is their chance. This is their chance. This is the game for them. Are they going to crumble or are they going to lift? Are they going to lift? So that's why I was really fascinated to sort of do a watch along for this game, because I wanted to see, if Jets do get up here, it's going to make not only is it going to make the battle for sixth spot interesting, but it's going to be really interesting for the top of the table, because City will be in within touching distance for the chasers, specifically Adelaide United, who now sit just a couple of points behind. Cummings staying at Central Coast Mariners next season. He's having a very strong season. He's having a fantastic season. 15 goals now for Jason Cummings for the Central Coast Mariners? And we'd love Cummings to stick around for as long as possible, of course. Great to see that. Great to see the consistency that he's built across this season too. And he's gaining on Jamie McLaren for that golden boot. He could make a real push. At the end here. Pappas looks like he's done. I know what you mean, Pumpkin. In like the last few weeks, whenever we see interviews with him, he just looks really tired, and I feel for the guy. You look at him and he just looks a bit exhausted, and which is a shame. And you compare that to when he first arrived, like last year, right? Last season, everyone was really excited about what he'd do, and I remember they were talking about, we're going to play this like exciting attacking football. I remember they were saying that they're going to be playing like a brand of football or something that the league had never seen. And they were decent. They were decent at times last season, but this season they've really dropped the ball as the teams come out. Melbourne City, Amy Park, Melbourne City. Considering the names in the squad and the success that they've had in recent years, Melbourne City, you'd expect them to have bigger crowds. But they don't seem to jump above 6, 7, 8,000. You never see it in the 5 digits. Which you'd think for a city the size of Melbourne, I mean, obviously Victory are going to get the biggest crowds. They've been around for longer. City have a lot of success. And, I mean, when it comes to derbies, there seem to be a lot of City fans rocking up. That's right. With Pappas. Yeah, Pumpkin says he looks completely run out of ideas and is emotionally drained from the inconsistency. I feel like maybe it'd be interesting. Look, it'd be interesting to see what Pappas would do at like Melbourne Victory. A team that has, star players all over the park. Newcastle Jets have always been one of those teams, those sort of the smaller clubs in the A-League, if you like, that don't necessarily want to spend that much money, and have to play with a bit of play around with that budget a little bit. They have to be really smart with the budget. And I feel like Pappas maybe is playing with a squad where he hasn't got the quality of plays that he would like. It'd be interesting. I mean, if Pappas was Melbourne Victory, maybe he could do really well. You know what I'm saying? I could be wrong. Spencer says, since Nick Green doesn't have all the qualifications to be head coach. Yeah, I heard about that. Hey, who should coach Brisbane Roar next season? I've had a word that the club is talking to Robbie Fowler about returning. I'd be surprised if Fowler returned. I just can't see that happening again after he left last time around a few years ago. It'd be great. Like, don't get me wrong, it'd be awesome. We need more star names in the A-League, whether it's on the field or on the bench, on the sidelines. So it'd be awesome. Look, maybe there could be a bit of reshuffle. Speaking about Arthur Pappas, maybe he could end up there. But look, it'll be fascinating to see what Brisbane do next. I was talking about that just a moment ago, actually at the start of the stream, in terms of what they do personnel-wise next year. I really think they need to go through a real reshuffle. They need to completely change that, just do a complete overhaul of that playing squad, man, because it's just not working. Keep Jay O'Shea. He's their best player. It has been for the last few years. I don't know if there's anyone else I would keep, man. Kai Truan's a consistent performer. Aside from that, it's hard to see who else you'd keep there. I mean, a couple of youngsters, Henry Horde, Jez Lofthouse, good players. So whether you keep some of the youngsters coming through there. Aside from that, I don't know, man. I think a lot of those players need. The weird thing about Brisbane too is like they don't necessarily have like a bad squad, but I think a lot of those players just need to go on a different path, and they could well finish bottom of the table. I think Victory will finish above them. That's what I reckon, at least. What do you guys think? Do you reckon Brisbane will finish bottom? I just can't see. I can't see them winning many games the rest of the season. And we have kickoff. First half is underway. City Jets. Shout out to the mug, the Grogu mug, Mandalorian mug. We love it. All right, we expect City to dominate possession here, but I'm keen to see what Jets can do here, man, with Piscopo playing off that left-hand side. I would have preferred to see Piscopo playing through the middle. I think he's better suited to that role. Gets him involved in the play a little bit more. And they could have done that too. I mean, they had Saito on the bench, Japanese winger, who's been playing all right. They could have put him out left, Piscopo through the middle, bench Grozos. But they've opted to start Piscopo out in the wing. Spencer says Brisbane Roar. Yes to the question. Brisbane Roar. Will Brisbane Roar finish last? Shamefully, yes. Nangle's meant to Roar, says Valhoon. Long ball over the top. Right idea. Keep an eye for Trent Bahagia on the wing with his pace. Like I said earlier, there are goals in this side for Jets, but City are coming forward looking to make their first attack of the game. It's a good challenge. Corner. Aquilina. Goal kick, in fact. Well done, Thomas Aquilina. Fortnite in the chat says you should do a video at the end of the season where you go through every club's most important player of the season. That's a good idea. That's a good idea, and we like to do that. I mean, I did a bunch of like individual club reviews last season around. I remember at the end of the season, but that would be good actually to go through and talk about the most important player. Speaking of Brisbane, as I mentioned, it probably is Jay O'Shea, and it has been him for a while. He's been the real He's just one of the more consistent performers of Brisbane Roar. Like I said, they have got good players, but in terms of a player who shows up more often than not, it's Jay O'Shea. Loves to whip in across, Jay O'Shea. Newy Jets in the chat. Come on, Jets. Newy Jets obviously hoping for a Newcastle Jets win. Would you go to a Sydney derby? Yes. Yeah, we'd love to get to a Sydney derby. I've never been to one. Sure, it'd be plenty of fun. All right, here we go. Sunny day in Melbourne. City shifting the ball around nicely early on here. Tilly on the right. Corner. First corner of the game for Melbourne City. Tilly has cross blocked by Ingham. Ingham, a brand of chicken, is it not? Ingham? Ingham's chicken? Branded chicken. Purusha to take the corner 4 minutes into this game. Goes right back, dude. Interesting. Long range strike. Just wide. Was that O'Neill? It was. It was. You know what I just realized? I'm wearing my watch. I've completely forgot to change it back an hour for a daylight savings. It completely caught me off today, this morning, daylight savings. For those on, I always forget which states do daylight savings. I know I've got some people watching from South Australia, Queensland. Queensland don't do daylight savings. I know that. Is it just the northern states, Queensland, Northern Territory, as Mikkel Datsy is down injured? Becca Mikkel Datsy, a player who burst onto the scene last year at Newcastle Jets. And has not had the same season this time around. He's still down here, Mikkel Datsy. Slightly concerning. Newy Jets says, must have been happy with last night's win. McGarry was awesome for you guys. Has been awesome for you guys so far. McGarry's been great. Great. I think if you had to say who's won out of that, the swap between Aquilina and McGarry, you'd probably say Mariners have won. Aquilina maybe hasn't had the impact that McGarry has had. McGarry already with a couple of goals. Spencer asks, are the A-League All-Stars returning this season? I remember hearing a rumor. I don't know if it was a rumor or something, but like that Bayern Munich they're not coming, but Bayern Munich we're considering coming to play All-Stars. And apparently that was a pretty reliable piece of information. Apparently it's been confirmed that that's not happening. Again, this is just what I've read from Twitter and the socials. Mikkel Datsy's back to his feet here, holding his shoulder. I think there's a good chance they'll return this season. I don't think there's any reason for them not to. Tulio was classy last night too. Tulio was very good last night, as was Nisbet, Ballard. Really good team performance overall. Triantis at the back, fantastic for Mariners. Balhoun says, I heard PSG for All-Stars. That'd be great. That would be awesome. Kylian Mbappe. Messi. Up against Brian Kaltak. And Marcelo. Marcelo used to play against PSG back in his Ligue 1 days, right? Right? Thoughts on the Mariners Wrexham announcement? Dude, it got me good. I completely bought it. I had no idea about it that they were doing that, and I believed it straight up. I was like, "That's great. This is awesome," and I got really excited for it. I was like, "This is gonna be great." But and then obviously everyone in the comments just like, oh, talking about the date and everything. It happens to me every year too. I always get caught out every year. How good would that be though? It'd be awesome. Jets win their first corner of the game. Mikuladze getting down the left. Looked on Ticketek and everything. Dude, I mean, I know, right? Like, what a tease. It would have been awesome. And they pretended to do like a quote from Ryan Reynolds and everything, talking about can't wait to see the palm trees and everything. And I was like, this is great. This is awesome. I told my partner about it and everything, and they were excited too. It was great. Ooh. Neither team really able to get a solid move going. Let's have a look at how the ladder stands now. City, of course, still sitting on top. But a draw here means they're within touching distance from Adelaide. Spencer says City aren't 4-0 up yet. This is very disappointing. 10 minutes in. No goals for either side just yet. Just give me a second here as we restart the camera. It's having a little bit of a glitch. Long ball down the right-hand side. Tilio. Ball inside. Decent. Can't find a teammate. We're back. 11 minutes, 22 seconds into this game. City just taking their time. Aren't committing too many numbers forward just yet. But have looked the better of the two sides so far. Credit to Jets, though, for keeping their structure pretty well so far, though, in the opening 10 minutes. Down the left, Jody Boss. Fantastic season he's having. What a run. Just gets dispossessed at the end there by O'Neill. Fantastic to see him get a Socceroos debut last week. How do they not score? I know, we're just seeing a replay from it now. Actually, it's a great save by Ware. Got the punch away. Sort of came at McLaren really quickly. It was at an awkward height. Hey, it was just too high for him to take a solid strike at it. Newcastle. See if they can put something together here. Yet to have a strike on goal yet. Grozos wins the free kick. He's down, clutching his ankle. Look at Andrew Naboot. He's not happy. Is he talking to his teammate or the lino? Definitely looks like a trip. Spencer asks, what do you think? What do you think would make the Sydney finals more interesting? I heard they were planning a week-long festival of football. What would you fill the week with? It's a great question. Well, I don't know what I'd fill the week with, just because I don't agree with it's just a bizarre move. I don't think I'd do a festival of football, and of course I wouldn't have the other grand final stuck in one city. So look, I'm curious to see what they do. I don't know if they've mentioned anything in terms of what they're going to do during that week. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And I was thinking about that actually. I'm really interested to see, especially, if Adelaide, it could potentially be a Melbourne City Adelaide grand final. So both teams from outside the state. It's going to be interesting to see the attendance, like who shows up. And will, traveling fans even come? Will fans from those interstate teams even show up? Will it be a bit of almost a bit of a, no attendance, just in protest? I'm interested. What do you guys think? And just speaking about that, Fortnite in the chat, there you go. It says, realistically speaking, imagine a scenario where it's a Wellington-Perth final, which would be even more interesting. Asks how many fans would actually attend in Sydney. It's a great question. Look, there's no doubt, for a grand final, there's going to be fans that will want to travel. Plenty of fans that will want to travel, especially if those teams, especially Wellington, made a grand final. They've obviously never made a final before, Wellington Phoenix. But it's more of I don't think fans would go just in protest of the grand finals being held in Sydney. And fair play to them, I totally get it. Here's a chance for Jets down the left-hand side. Ingham, cut back, just wide. Grozos. First real chance there for Jets. Dane Ingham bursting down the left. Spencer says should be an A-League Magic round in Sydney, but not a final. I'm cool with that idea. Let's do that. We've got the stadium for it. Got Combank, got Allianz Stadium. And they could do a different city each year. They could, we're even seeing, even in cities that really only have one major stadium, if you like. We're seeing in Perth the fact that they've got, HBF Park and now Macedonia Park, which has turned out to be a pretty successful venture for Perth Glory, sort of having a suburban style ground for them. So I'd be down for a Magic Round. NRL has been doing it for a little while. AFL doing it for the first time this year as well. Would you guys be down for that? I wonder how A-League fans would respond to it. I don't see anything wrong with it. Just one round a season, Magic Round. Also, why do they call it Magic Round? I genuinely don't know. I feel like it's a weird name for it. I don't know if there's a meaning behind it. Someone let me know if there is. City on the attack. The boot. Just wide. Andrew Naboot hasn't made a Socceroos appearance for a year or so. And has had a pretty decent season for City. Nothing too spectacular. Pumpkin says season ends with the premiership now. As far as I'm concerned, finals are dead. Dead to me for the next 3 years, which I totally understand where you're coming from with that. For me, finals are still a massive thing. Finals are where we get the biggest attendances, the intensity. As City almost getting behind again, the intensity that we see in finals, man, is something that we don't usually see throughout the regular season. But I can totally see where you're coming from with that opinion. Valhoon says, can't see it working in Brisbane, only Suncorp, really. I mean, if they do choose to use what they're called now, KO Stadium in Redcliffe, where Brisbane obviously have been playing most of their home games out over the last few years. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's a bit easier to with the A-League because they've only got 6 games to schedule. And you could they could really do just one stadium. I wonder how that would work. But they really could just do one stadium where they do, you could do a Friday night game. What would it be? It's like Friday night, 2 on, why is my brain not working? 3 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Although 3 games at one stadium in one day might be a bit much. Yeah, you would just need 2 stadiums, I reckon, to do a Magic round. It'd be interesting. I hope it's something they explore, and it would create a bit of a spectacle, a bit of excitement around the league too. Tilio City still trying to find their way through, and it breaks down here. Just can counter. That's going to be yellow. Oh, no foul. Yeah, it is now. That should be yellow card, and it is. First yellow of the game for Jamison, who's having a bit of a word to Bahagia. We're 20 minutes into this game now. 20 minutes. Spencer says, I actually didn't know this. Is this right, Spencer? Says Brisbane are moving their games back to Brisbane next season. Suncorp Stadium will share games with Ballymore Stadium, where Queensland Reds used to play. Is that right? I actually have not heard that. I haven't heard anything regarding Brisbane and the home games for next season. If that's true, great news. That's great news because obviously that's one of the concerns for Brisbane fans, the fact that it is a bit of a trek to get out to Redcliffe. Free kick for City in their defensive half. Got the Gold Coast Stadium they could use. That could be good. That's true. They could do that. Because what's the trip from Brisbane to Gold Coast is just over an hour or something like that, isn't it? An hour and a half, maybe. That could work. That's a fair point. Stadium at Gold Coast and Suncorp Stadium. They could do a Magic round there. Yeah, you just need 2 stadiums to make it work for 6 fixtures. I reckon there's a chance they might do it next year. I reckon there's a chance. – 22 minutes into this game, City 0, Jets 0. Melbourne City have had the bulk of the possession so far, yet to really fashion a decent chance on goal. Aside from that half chance that McLaren had, where he fluffed his lines. It's interesting, actually. I'm just noticing Grozos looks like he is playing out on the right-hand side. Thurgate, O'Neill is the 2 holding midfielders. I guess the advantage for Jets is they do have sort of a front four that they can rotate around if they choose to. Bahagia playing centrally. City pushing forward now. Here we go. Can they fashion an opportunity? Decent play. Geordie Boss. Barisha. Good strike. That's too high. Too high from Fallon Barisha, who, correct me if I'm wrong, only has 1 goal so far this season, right? Aside from that, he's been a really good acquisition for City. Has kept a really good player in Florin Berenguer on the bench for the last few weeks. But if he just adds a few more goals to his game, Barisha could become a really decent player. We, of course, saw him feature in the recent Euro qualifiers for Kosovo. Thoughts on the second division? Any of the 30-plus teams who submitted interest that you will support? No, we definitely won't be supporting any other teams. Sticking with Central Coast Mariners, 100%. We're going to come back to that because Newcastle just are on the attack here, and that's a terrible pass. Newcastle got into a fantastic position there. Mikkel Datsi. I'll tell you that really sums up his season. The fact that he got to that really decent position, had a teammate to his right, and just plays it right out of play. Just coming back to the second division thing, I'm excited to see how it works, how it gets implemented. I don't think we're going to see promotion relegation anytime soon. That's just me being real. I think I just can't see how it's going to work. A lot of stuff needs to go right for it to work, but I'm fascinated to see how it goes, and I hope it works out because it'll be a great thing for Australian football. So I hope it's a success, but it'd be interesting. I wouldn't expect A-League fans to, like, if you're already a fan of an A-League club, to also support a second division club, because especially if there becomes promotion relegation, then all the teams become in one, can play each other. Obviously, you could have a second favorite team playing in the second division. That'd be cool. "25 minutes into this game, City still looking for that real clear-cut chance. Haven't quite had the strikes on goal that they would have hoped for. And credit to Newcastle for making it difficult for them. Back forwards especially has been really disciplined for the Jets, not really leaving any gaps. Melbourne City trying to utilize the wide areas to break past Jets, but you can really see how Newcastle are flooding the wings when City look to push down a certain wing. There's just Jets players all over the park. Chance for Newcastle to get down the left-hand side. Ingham pushing forward from left back, and that'll be a free kick in a wide position, but a good position. Tilio with a foul. Pretty unnecessary one too, from Michael Tilio. Piscopo, Grozos standing over this one. You imagine Grozos is going to take it. The right footer. Piscopo is leaving it for Grozos. Far post. Decent chance. Newcastle Jets appealing for a foul or a handball potentially. Coming back in for the Jets. Good chance. Bahagia in the box. Can't get a strike. Still on. Good opportunity for Newcastle. City deal with it. And they're checking VAR. They are checking VAR. It'd be good to see some replays. It didn't seem clear what happened, but a couple of players went down in the box. Oh, is there a potential handball there? Is there like two potential handballs in there? Valhoon says handball. Reckons it's handball. And they're coming over to check it. And this would be a huge opportunity for Newcastle to grab the first goal of the game if this gets awarded. Was it that first one? That first contact when the ball first came in? The boot. I tell you what, that looks like a handball, man. That hand is stretched out. Pretty similar to the handball we saw in yesterday's game between Mariners and Brisbane, where Mariners defender had his arm out. That's going to be a penalty, man. That's going to be a penalty. Andrew Naboot's arm is right out, makes contact with the ball. I'd be surprised if this isn't given. Penalty. It's going to be a penalty kick for Newcastle Jets. And a great chance for Newcastle to open the scoring. Just about half an hour into the game. Tommy Glover facing up against Beckham Micheldatzi, who has a decent record from the penalty spot. Usually puts him away. Micheldatzi, Tom Glover. Big chance for Newcastle from the penalty spot. The Georgian steps up and puts it home coolly. Newcastle have the lead 1-0. Beckham Micheldatzi hasn't had the best of seasons. Finds the back of the net here from the penalty spot. Melbourne City looking a little bit shaky now. Half an hour into this game. Showing the replay. That's definitely a handball. That's got to be a handball. No doubts about the decision. And that was a very cool penalty. Not a lot of power in it. That easily could have been saved. If Tom Glover went the other way, that was going to be a save for sure because there wasn't a lot of power on it. But he kept it low, Micheldatzi. Spencer says sack Melbourne City coach just for conceding a goal. Thoughts on the goalkeeper penalty changes? No more Redmayne dancing. I get it. I understand it. I don't really have an issue with it, to be honest. It is a shame. I mean, we're not going to see the whole Redmayne, dancing, as you say there, Valhoon. But I don't really have a problem with it. I get why they're making the change. But yeah, what's Andrew Redmayne going to do now? Gonna have to stand still, eh? So it's 1-0. City really now have to step up here. Talbot is on the field, who came on for Nuno Reis earlier. All of a sudden, this becomes a really interesting contest. Not just for both of these sides, but for the context of just looking at the whole table as a whole. City getting forward here into the hands of Ware. Spencer's not happy about the goalkeeping changes. Says, I'm not a City fan, but I loved Redmayne's dancing. Our league needs characters. I'm totally with you there. I mean, we love Redmayne. We love Redmayne's antics. And of course, it helped Australia get to the World Cup. But I totally get why they made the move, man. I guess it does make a bit of sense. Valhoon says takers can still stutter their run-up, change foot on Panenkas. That's true. It'd be interesting to see if they made any changes there. It's a tricky thing to manage here. City come with a strike. Good save. Where down to his left. Well, who was that with a strike? Was it O'Neill again? Already 2 saves in the match so far for Michael Weir. That one earlier, that McLaren chance from point blank range. But we're 33 minutes into this game, and still this isn't quite. While Sydney have dominated possession, they haven't necessarily been, putting Newcastle under the pump. I don't think, at least. Jets have been holding their own. And it easily could have gone the other way. Some people might have expected for this to be an easy 3 points for City. But there seems to be... I was talking about it before the game started, about we needed to see some intensity and some desire from Newcastle Jets. Especially with victory and glory grabbing wins this weekend. If Jets want to play finals football, they're really got to start winning games. And what an opportunity to get 3 points here against the ladder leaders. Obviously, still plenty of time to go in this one. Forward pass, decent. Good cross, headed away. Aquilina corner for City. 1-0 to Jets. If you haven't heard, penalty for Becca Micheldatzi around the half an hour mark, giving Newcastle the lead. Corner here for City. They would love to hit straight back here. Barish to take it again. In swinger, near post, headed away, still on. Barisha again on the left. Plenty of Jets players in the box, man. They're making it difficult for City to break through. Now the cross, decent work. Oh, that's a decent shot and goal. It was a good chance. Barisha with a strike in the end. But you can see City not quite having the joy that they usually do have, breaking down the side. Former City player in Carl Jenkinson playing today for Newcastle, of course. Side netting, though, from Barisha, left-footed strike. Good opportunity. Ooh, good question from Spencer in the chat. Who would you sign in the off-season for Mariners? I think there's some decent young players out there that I think would really flourish at Central Coast Mariners that maybe aren't getting game time at other clubs. A young player who I love watching, and I'd be surprised, I'd be shocked if he got a move, but Keegan Yelich from Perth Glory, who's really playing every single week for Glory. So I don't think it'd be the chance of him moving, but I'd love to see Mariners to sign someone like Keegan Yelich. He's a fantastic player. But I think the Mariners need to sign some midfield reinforcements. I think all the other areas on the park are pretty well covered, but some central midfielders would be good. Adelaide United have some good young midfielders coming through, and Ethan Allegich and Johnny Yule. But I think Mariners are in a good position right now where we don't necessarily have to recruit too many names. The squad overall is looking pretty solid, especially in attack. Who would you like to see replace Vukovic when he retires? I would love to see Yaron Souza get a run. I just think because he's been a faithful servant to the club for the last few years now. So Yaron Souza would be a decent one. But in terms of if Mariners were to go for another keeper, I mean, James Delianov isn't getting much of a run at Adelaide, obviously playing behind Joe Gauci. He's a decent keeper. And I'm sure there's plenty of keepers in the youth ranks at Mariners that could potentially get a run as well. But Yaron Souza, I think, is my first choice. Would love to see him get a run. Hasn't really had an opportunity yet. Made a couple appearances in the Cup. Baruch's long ball free kick. Michael Ware with his height, just getting that punch on it. Doing well so far, Ware. Couple saves already. Newcastle Jets really happy to sit back now. That's the good thing with them getting the goal. They're able to sit back and defend now. Cross coming into that fast post. Aquilina again playing it safe. Can be another corner. Jamie McLaren in the box. Wasn't called up to the Socceroos this time around. But we'd love to get a goal here from this set piece opportunity. Parisha whipping it in. Close to the keeper. Michael Weir takes and clears early. Tommy Glover's coming out for that. And dude, the foul on Glover. I thought he stuffed that up for a second. Oh my gosh. Going in with a full-blooded challenge there. Was that Piscopo? He stayed down. No, it was Mikkeltadze. Still staying down. Got absolutely crunched in that challenge. Heavy collision. It looked like a fair challenge. But here's the replay. Tommy Glover, foul on him. Trent Bahagia fouling him. And 100% fair challenge there between Jamison and Mikkeltadze. I'm sure he'll be all right. Spence asks, do you think the Mariners would offer Matt Ryan to return to close his career? Would love to see it. Would love to see it. I doubt that it'll happen, but would love to see it. Referee currently just talking to the fourth official. I think about this challenge, but I don't see what there is to talk about. It looked pretty... Oh, it's a red. Scott Jamison's just been sent off. Scott Jamison has just been sent off. We didn't see that coming. Here's me talking about the challenge. It was I said 100% a fair challenge. And the referee has come to speak to the fourth official. Let's see a replay here. Was there any studs? Oh, that's a terrible decision. The studs aren't even raised at all. Well, the VAR has to get involved here because that can't be a right decision. That can't be the correct decision. VAR has to get involved here. They've made a terrible mistake, and it's a really shame. It's a massive shame. It's a massive shame because it looked like there was a yellow card initially awarded. The fourth official got involved, but they're holding up play now, and the fourth official didn't need to get involved here. The fourth official really should be getting involved if he's absolutely certain that there should be a red card. And it looks like we're going to play on. Wow. Valhoon says these red cards are a joke. Newey Jets football, obviously quite happy about the decision to award a red card. Because now City are down to 10. I can't believe it. I mean, am I seeing the replay wrong? Am I seeing the replay wrong? But that can't be a red card. There's no way. Anyway, this makes this game really interesting now because not only is City down a goal, but they're down a man. Newcastle Jets just a few minutes away from halftime. And now with a great chance to win this game. Scott Jamieson, who was playing in midfield. You'd imagine City would go back now to sort of like a 4-4-1 setup with Barisha and O'Neill playing as the two midfielders for City in the centre of the park. Man, I don't agree with that decision at all. That's a stunning decision. Unless I somehow missed the studs in that challenge. But from the replays I saw, it looked perfectly fine. Not even worthy of a yellow. I didn't even think it was a foul. I didn't think it was a foul. Watchalong on Wednesday. It's going to be so weird. It's going to be really weird watching that one. Really, really weird. I'm hoping to do Watchalong, so keep an eye out on the channel. I'll let you guys know beforehand. Spencer says VAR is asleep. I think so. I'm checking online now just to see what people are saying as well across Twitter. But I can't see how that can be a red. There you go. Valhoon says that's 50 red cards for the season. Is that right? 50. Pumpkin says it was a second yellow. Seems less controversial. Thank you for pointing that out. I actually didn't realize that. I didn't realize that. Is that right? I saw the only reason why I thought it was a red because I saw the referee like do the thing where like he wiped out the yellow card and then just showed the red. So maybe I don't know. Was it one of those ones where it was going to be yellow and then I don't know. Was he already booked? Is that right? I think you were right, Pumpkin. But perhaps instead of it being a second yellow, it's now just, rather than a second yellow, it's just a straight red. But thanks for correcting me, Pumpkin, there. Did look like it was a second yellow indeed. Yeah, you're right. 21st minute, there was a yellow card for Scott Jamieson. So there you go. But still, regardless, I don't agree with the decision. I don't even think it should have been a yellow, you know? Don't think it should have been yellow. What international clubs would you like to see the Mariners playing pre-season? Wrexham? Huh. Lol. Good question. I mean, Mariners never really get big names, aside from when they played Celtic years ago. Well, we'll take on anyone. We'd love to see some big teams come over from Europe. Pumpkin says, not sure actually. I just saw a yellow, and then the Reds on the commentator said it was his second. So yeah, no, you were right. You were right what you said there earlier, Pumpkin. Yeah, Scott Jamieson was booked early in the half, but I did see the referee he did the thing where he like wiped out the yellow and then did the straight red, which makes a difference, right? Because if he gets a straight red, then he misses a couple of games, right? Anyway, drama. And we have 4 minutes of injury time in this first half. But it's already been a pretty spicy first half in this game. Jets with a penalty, which I agreed with that decision, the handball. Pretty clear and obvious handball. And now the ladder leaders are also down a man. And Newcastle Jets looking out for this game could come forward here with a chance to attack and potentially grab a second goal here. Newcastle Jets, great opportunity. Right-hand side. Edge of the box. It's going to fall here. Is that Ingham? Oh, surely had to get the shot away. It was Mikkel Datsy, in fact, on the left-hand side. Mikkel Datsy loses the ball. Disappointing for Jets. Well, if Newcastle would have snatched a second here, they could pretty much lock up the 3 points. Melbourne will score 1 goal. Look, they're gonna have to go for it. They're gonna have to go for it in the second half. Because they know they no longer have Melbourne City no longer have that buffer now. They've been so used to throughout the whole season. They're now just 1 point ahead of Adelaide as it stands. They've been used to having this buffer between them and the teams below them. But now, after Adelaide's win against Wanderers, on Friday, there's a massive chance that Adelaide could take over and finish top of the table. Of course, still a few weekends to go. Newey Jets ask, you heading down to Newey for the F3 Derby on the 22nd? Yes. Spencer says, never thought I'd hear Newcastle on 3 points in the same sentence. The wins have been few and far between for the Jets, but this would be a huge, huge win for them and would put them back in contention for finals. And the exciting thing is pretty much every bottom six side could be playing finals. All of them could potentially finish in that spot, in that sixth place. Will it be Jets? City, Tilio breaking forward down the right-hand side, just muscled off it. No free kick. Still going, Tilio. Barisha crossing in. Header, decent. It's going to go wide. And it's going to be a goal kick, I think. Indeed it is. And that might be half time. Did Mikkel bring Tilio down there? I think it looked a little soft. Half time it is. Well, Melbourne City 0. Newcastle Jets 1. A chance here for Newcastle to pick up a massive 3 points. Andrew Naboot is going off at the referee right now as they walk down the tunnel. And surely for that reaction, he has to get booked, right? Cameras following the referees down the tunnel and the players. City aren't happy. And I got to say, I feel for City, man. I feel for City. Absolutely did not agree with that decision to award Scott Jamieson a red card, let alone a second yellow card for that challenge. It'd be great. I'm sure on halftime we'll see some more replays of it. But I remember at the time it just looked like a fair challenge. Just two players going for the ball. I was stunned to see that there was a red card given there. What do we think? The exciting thing now for us is it's going to set up a really exciting second half in this game. Where Melbourne City have to go for this now. And when we look at the ladder, let's pull it up now. Let's have a look at the ladder and how it stands. Because even though we were expecting a pretty comfortable win for Melbourne City, there is now a chance for Newcastle Jets to look at that, already jumping up to 7th place, level on points with Sydney FC. And look at that, like a couple more goals. I mean, I'd be surprised if Newcastle Jets were to win by, if they grab another 3 goals here. I can't see it happening, but could potentially finish in the top 6 today, which is crazy. Speaking of the challenge, Pumpkin says, was there even contact? I mean, from what I saw, I don't even think so. I thought both players just went for the ball. I mean, whether Mikkel reaction made it seem worse, I don't know. Spencer says City losing, making me feel nostalgic about the Melbourne Heart days back. It's bizarre, isn't it? We've only seen City lose, as you can see on the ladder here, 4 times this season. This could potentially be their 4th loss of the season. 12 wins, 5 draws. But you can see just in the last few weeks already a couple losses there. So this would be a 3rd loss in 6 games for City, which is some worrying form heading into finals. When you look at Adelaide United, 4 wins in a row now. A massive win on the road to Wanderers on Friday. Adelaide play Mariners in the final round of the season. I do know that at home. But there is a great chance. I want to have a look at Adelaide's run in to the end of the season. Let's have a look at let's pull up the fixtures here. and have a look at some of the fixtures coming into the final rounds of the season. Because I know specifically that final round is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Valhoon saying Adelaide are very hot right now. They are the team to beat. And especially if City lose this game, Adelaide are absolutely the informed team. Obviously, Melbourne Derby to be replayed this upcoming Wednesday. And then next weekend, we've got Western hosting Central Coast Mariners in Ballarat. Adelaide hosting Sydney FC, which you think would be a win for Adelaide. Brisbane Roar taking on Newcastle Jets. Fascinating game there. Another away game for Newcastle. Jets could get the win there and see themselves in the top 6. Battle of the Western Sydney sides. Macarthur FC hosting West Sydney Wanderers. You'd think would be a win for the Wanderers in that game. Melbourne Victory playing Perth Glory, which should be a fascinating clash. Victory coming off a couple wins in their last couple of games. Will probably be looking to win that game pretty comfortably. Perth Glory need to get some wins if they're going to be playing. If they want to play finals this season. McLaren is the new Moosewood. Shout out to Michael Moosewood back in the Melbourne Hard days. Spencer says, might have to bring my boots to Raw Jets game next week and help the Raw boys out if they go down. It will be a fascinating game. Last game of the round next week. Melbourne City taking on Wellington Phoenix. Again, another interesting game. 2 top 6 sides who are maybe struggling a little bit now, especially if Melbourne City go on to lose this game. Wellington Phoenix, we know, are a good side. So some pretty intriguing fixtures next week, especially these last 2, the Victory Glory game and the City Phoenix game could be pivotal. Let's have a look at some other big fixtures across the final rounds of the season. We see Mariners hosting Melbourne City. Could be a huge game for Central Coast Mariners. Further down here, we've got an F3 derby. Wanderers hosting Phoenix will be a huge one as well. And then further down the ladder here, the final week. Dude, look at this, 28th of April. Mark it in your calendars. Right now, 28th of April, because we've got Adelaide United taking on Central Coast Mariners. Melbourne City will be hosting Western Sydney Wanderers, 7:45. That's a Friday. We're probably going to be doing a live watch along for that, man, for both of these, a dual live watch along, which we haven't done yet this season. But that is a Friday night not to be missed, because those are 2 massive games. Macarthur v Phoenix in the last week of the season. Sydney FC Jets could be a battle for 6th spot, that one. Keep an eye on this game as well on the Saturday afternoon. Sydney Jets. Victory Brisbane. Perth Glory Western. Dude, looking at Melbourne Victory's games, they've got a decent little run in. I mean, they're hosting Macarthur as well. Obviously, Wanderers away will be a tough one for them. Victory could be in with a chance to finish top 6 as well. So that Friday, man, is going to be huge. Spencer asks top 6 predictions. Well, looking at the fixtures that we just looked at, looking at the table as it stands now, look, I think the top 5 sides are a lock. I don't know in what order. Honestly, I think Adelaide will finish top. I think City finished second. There's a bit of a gap. You can see here the 6-point gap between Adelaide and Mariners. So I think Mariners will finish third, with Wanderers fourth. But I mean, look how close it is right now between Mariners and Wanderers. Goal difference points even. Wellington Phoenix, I think, will stay in fifth. In terms of who takes sixth, Sydney FC without a win in the last 3. Newcastle Jets could get a win here. Perth Glory, Western, Macarthur, Victory, Brisbane. I'm going to rule Brisbane out. I can't see them finishing in the top 6 with the way they're playing. Victory are still in with a chance, in my opinion. Macarthur, just too inconsistent for me. Been conceding way too many goals. So you can see 40. This is 41 conceded for Macarthur FC. Western United again. I mean, look at that. They had a decent run a few weeks ago. We've got 3 wins in a row without a win in the last 2. I can't see Western finishing in the finals. I'd love to see Perth Glory play finals. They've performed really well at home this season. I don't think it'll happen. I think teams that are still in are Victory, Glory, Jets, and Sydney. I feel like those are the 4 who could potentially finish in 6th. And I have to pick one right now, don't I? What do you guys think? Help me out. Who's finishing 6th? Look how tight it is. 23, 24 points, 25, 26, 27, 28. Anything can happen too. Like in these that bottom 6 bottom 7 teams could be completely flipped. I mean, Sydney FC could pick up the wooden spoon. Brisbane play Sydney. Brisbane play Sydney in the final. Is it the final round of the season? Or not the final round? One of the second last round, I think. Sydney FC could finish bottom, man. I'd be surprised if that happens, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, anything could still happen. There's still a few weeks to go. But for my pick right now to finish 6th, I'm going to say Sydney. I'm going to say Sydney FC. I think they get there. I think they sneak in. Their squad is still very strong, especially in attack. I mean, Joe Lolly's had a good season. Robert Mack is class. If Adam Lafondra can find some form to finish off the season, I think Sydney FC will be that 6th place team. Having said that, like it could be anyone. Could be anyone. I don't think it'll be Perth Glory just because they can't win away from home. They can't. If Perth Glory were winning games away from home, they absolutely could. But I just can't see it happening. Newcastle Jets, again, just inconsistency has been hurting them too much. I mean, Western United, the reigning champions, still have a good squad. It's going to be really interesting these last few weeks. So make sure you keep an eye on the channel. I'm sure we'll be doing plenty of watch-alongs across the last few weeks and into finals. But the exciting thing is the table, even when you look at the top and the bottom, it could be flipped. But I think there is certainly a divide when it comes to the top 5 and the bottom 6. Even though there's only 3 points separating Sydney and Phoenix. I can't see Phoenix slipping away. I think Phoenix are too good of a side to slip away. Got to put this up on the screen. Spencer in the chat just said, don't know what you're talking about. Brisbane about to pull Steve Bradbury. Sneak into the top 6. Look, again, like the A-League is crazy, man. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So I'm not writing it off. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. But out of all those sides, I think Brisbane will finish bottom. I think they will finish bottom. They just, look at that. Brisbane, this is 20 goals scored here. At the bottom here for Brisbane, that's 20 goals scored, which isn't good enough. They've struggled across the last couple of years, haven't they, to find a really decent, consistent goal scorer. They just haven't been able to do it, which is a shame for them, man, because like I was saying earlier, they actually have a decent squad. Imagine the scenes. Valhoon says Raw 96th minute. Raw 96th minute final round winner to get into the top 6. What was that? What was that game? Let's check that final round game for Brisbane. Away to Victory. Man, like both of these games. Like Victory Brisbane could be a battle for 6th spot. Same can be said for Sydney Newcastle. Man. Even Glory Western. Dude, yeah, indeed. The limbs across Queensland. And look, if my predictions go as they are, let's have a look at what finals would look like. So I said Adelaide to finish top, City to be second. So those 2 teams would go through to the semis. That would mean elimination finals. Mariners take on, I said Sydney to finish 6th. Potentially Brisbane if they sneak in. And then that would mean Wanderers to host Phoenix, which you'd think would be wins for Mariners and Wanderers, which would mean Adelaide, I said City to finish second, which would mean City and Mariners in the semis, and then Wanderers and Adelaide in the other semi. Spicy. Look, it is all, to be fair, it is all shaping up to a City Adelaide grand final. But Mariners and Wanderers have class players too. Anything can happen. And probably shouldn't write off Phoenix as well. I mean, Oscar Zavada has been having a great season. 35 goals scored. Look at the amount of goals that have been scored at City and Adelaide, though. I mean, 47 each. 44 from the Mariners. That's the Wanderers' only weakness. I mean, 33 isn't a bad return at all. But compared to the other teams around them, above them, haven't quite scored as many. But the defense has been where it's at. Look at that, 21 goals compared to Mariners 32, Adelaide 36. Isn't that crazy for a team who could potentially be finishing top of the table to have conceded 36 goals in 22 games? It's a lot of goals to concede. A lot of goals to concede. But Wanderers' defense, I mean, Wanderers are where they are because of the defense, right? Second half, just moments away. The question now is whether Melbourne City can put in a performance in this second period to keep themselves on top of the table and in a decent position for the Premier's plate. Huge opportunity for the Jets here. Mikotatsi grabbed their goal in the first half from the penalty spot. Arthur Pappas. They came close to finals last year, remember? Newcastle Jets. With only a few games to play. Spencer in the chat says, got a day after birthday game at Suncorp Stadium against Sydney on the 24th. Got a whole row in the den booked out with family, with friends and family going. That's exciting, man. Sure, it'll be a fun day for you. Second half is underway. Here we go. City looking to get on the front foot early. Nice run down the left. Early corner for City. Scott Jamieson sent off in that first half. City down to 10. Have City made any changes? Let's have a look. I didn't see any changes, any substitutes from Melbourne City. So it does appear they are running that same setup. More of a 4-4-2-3 now, rather than the 4-3-3 that they usually play. 4-2-3. But it doesn't look like they've made any changes. Spencer says, hopefully it's a winner. Hopefully it's a winner gets sixth game. Might be a dreaming bit. Dude, it could. It could. Like if Brisbane at home to Newcastle next week is a winnable game for Brisbane. They won the last two at home. So look, it's not all doom and gloom for Brisbane. They do have a chance. But they're really going to win next week, I reckon. Brisbane really have to win next week against Newcastle. If they do, then it's still on, of course. We're going to expect a lot of this half, I reckon. Just Jets sitting back, holding onto this 1-goal lead. 3 points that is really the 3 points is all that matters now for Newcastle. They need the wins. There is a chance for them to get it here. Spencer says, yeah, it's win or die for Brisbane. We'll be there next week. Would love to travel for Gosford one day. Hope to catch you there. Dude, you get to experience such a good stadium. The palm trees, the sauce bottles. Great little stadium. Always recommend it for an away day. Good run inside the box there from Tilio. It's going to be a goal kick. In fact, it was Talbot getting down the right. Get on the sauce at Sauce Bottle Stadium. Maybe they should call it that Sauce Bottle Stadium. Palm Tree Stadium. Sauce Bottle Stadium. What is it called now? Industry Group Stadium, I think. Newcastle Jets. Now, here's the fascinating thing, right? As Newcastle get forward here. Inside the box, O'Neill. If City were if Newcastle were to score a second here, which they've got a great chance to. Oh, terrible miss. Is it Grozos? Oh, what a chance. What a chance. The cutback was fantastic. Newcastle with a great opportunity. Oh, Thurgate just cutting it back and Grozos skies it. That had to be the second. I was literally just saying if Jets score a second, it's going to be super difficult for City. Australia's most underrated stadium. I agree. Hello, Mohammed from India. Thanks for tuning in. Absolutely, Australia's most underrated stadium, though, Spencer. Industry Group Stadium, Central Coast Stadium. I just call it Central Coast Stadium. Yeah, it's a great stadium, and the good thing about it is there isn't really a bad seat inside the stadium. You know, there's a good view from wherever you sit. Right by the water, of course, as well. Does Source Stadium have a good screen? Unfortunately, no. that's one of the only downsides. And look, that's just me being honest. I'm not going to defend it just because it's my home stadium, but no, not quite. I'm comparing it to stadiums from Sydney. I've been to Allianz Stadium, Combank Stadium plenty of times, and it doesn't compare. It's not up there. Great chance for Newcastle again. This time cleared. City under the pump here. City under the pump. Far post over the head of Piscopo. Views are incredible, at least from what I've seen. Yes, they are indeed. Yeah, it's right at the water. There's like one road, and then you're at the water, so it's fantastic. So, they even, I don't know if they still do it, but they had like a ferry, because usually there aren't ferries that go up to Gosford around the Central Coast, as far as I'm aware. But they actually had like a ferry system that went up to the stadium and everything, so you could actually catch the ferry there and everything. which I correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if there's a stadium in Australia where you can catch the ferry right to the stadium. You know, chance here for City. Shaky back pass. Matt Yerman with a shaky back pass. Michael Weir's been good today. Michael Weir's been good. Andrew in a boot has pulled up a little bit gingerly. Here's Callum Talbot for City, cutting inside. O'Neill. 52 minutes played. Melbourne City down 1-0 and down a man. No Scott Jamieson on the field, no captain. Jamie McLaren, the striker, has taken over the armband. It's a poor pass, and Newcastle could counter-attack here through the middle. Ren Episcopo almost leaves the ball behind him, and he's given away a foul. Bit of a comical error there from Ren Episcopo. Spencer asks, any word on Citigroup Stadium getting upgraded? Football stadium, I assume you mean big football stadium on the water, would be mad. There's like always been talks of the stadium getting upgraded, and not just the stadium, but the whole area, the waterfront there getting upgraded. And I'm sure it will happen eventually, the area. I can't see the stadium getting upgraded anytime soon. So as far as I know, there's no plans in place. There has been ideas in past years of expanding the stadium, or doing stuff up around the stadium, but in terms of capacity, it doesn't need to be upgraded. It's not like Mariners are selling it out week in, week out. So capacity wise isn't an issue. So yeah. Jets with another chance to counter-attack here. Long ball. Piscopo chasing. Lamb can't keep it in. City are on the ropes here, man. City are on the ropes. Jets. Building again through Thurgate. It's been interesting seeing Mikkel Tatsi more often than not occupying a position on the left wing. Bahagia playing centrally. He's got the pace, Bahagia. Piscopo playing in that number 10 role. Jets about to pull a Saudi Arabia against Argentina. I don't know if it's an upset of that gravity, but I know what you mean there. I know what you mean there, Spencer. It's a similar sort of situation with the underdogs up against the favourites. And Thomas Lamb has just gone down here injured. Bit of a concern because Nuno Reis is already off. Looks like he'll continue here, Thomas Lamb. Just tune into the game. City red card. Wow, was it worthy? Absolutely not. I don't think so at all. Not even worthy of a yellow card. It looked like a fair 50-50 challenge between Mikkel and Jamison. So yeah, I was stunned when it happened. And it was a really weird one too, because it was the referee went over to his fourth official. The fourth official called the referee over. And they didn't even look at VAR, I don't think. They didn't look at VAR at all. It's a bit of a weird one. So I was shocked that it was awarded a red card. I thought it was just like a fair two players going in for the ball. Didn't appear to be any studs. Again, maybe they're seeing a different angle or something. But it could cost City in this game. That should be a foul. And it is. Jenkinson bringing down his opponent. City looking to take it quickly. Talbot. Back for Tilio. Just look at the number of Newcastle players who are back, man. They're clogging up the back line. Down the left-hand side. Pass is offline. Which Prem club should sign Aaron Kunda and Tilio? I would love to see both of those guys playing in the Premier League one day. I'd prefer to see them go to the Championship. It'd be great to see them playing at Brighton. We've obviously seen a few Australians at Brighton and Hove Albion over the years. I'd love to see them at a championship club, man. Maybe go to Scotland as well. William asks, what do we think of the Mariners April Fool's joke? We were just talking about it a bit earlier, actually. Yeah, I completely bought it. I had no idea what was happening, and I believed it 100%. I got so excited too. I was like, this is great. This is going to be awesome. And then, yeah, of course, not actually happening. But wouldn't that have been awesome? Wrexham coming to the Central Coast of all places. I mean, after Usain Bolt came to the Central Coast, anything can happen now, right? Corner here for Newcastle Jets. Grozos to whip it in. 57 minutes played. Decent delivery. Headed away. Goal kick. I agree, Spencer. It would have been a great game. Mariners Wrexham. Because two sides who, I mean, I can't say, I watch Wrexham week in, week out. Like, I don't watch their football. But you'd imagine it'd be, Mariners would probably be ahead of them in terms of class and quality of players. You'd think. But yeah, it'd be a fascinating match, that's for sure. But obviously a lot of popularity around Wrexham at the moment. Valhoon says Aaron Kunda would be good at Dortmund. That would be interesting. Obviously a few Aussies playing their football in Germany. Jackson Irvine, Connor Metcalf. We've seen Aussies there in the past. Matt Leckie, Brandon Brillo. Here's Talbot inside the box for City. Chance, edge of the box, Tilio. Blocked. Newcastle just defending valiantly. Little collision there between Berisha and Piscopo. Spencer says, Wrexham kind of reminds me of Mariners in a way. Interesting. Why is that? I'm curious to see why you think that. I guess maybe they're both sort of, I guess, an iconic small club, if you like. I mean, Wrexham, obviously, their owners being very popular celebrities, and then the Mariners sort of being iconic in the roadway in the A-League with the sauce bottles and the palm trees. So I don't know whether it's that. We'll cut up to the hour mark here, and there's going to be the first substitution for Newcastle in this game. Japanese winger Manabu Saito is about to come on. There we go. Spencer says, small town club, had a rough patch, but are coming good again. There we go. Yeah, I can't say I followed Wrexham's journey that much. But Mariners certainly have had a similar trajectory in recent years. 1 hour of football has been played so far. City still yet to find the back of the net. Piscopo playing it up the line for Bahagia, who's got pace to Pern. Bahagia has 3 defenders to beat here. Does well to hold it up. Great chance. Good save. Newcastle so close to a second. It's still on here. O'Neill. Piscopo blocked. Jets coming forward again here. Jenkinson. O'Neill. City. Looking a little bit nervous at the back. Can't deal with it at the moment. Grozos. Good pass. Bahagia left it. You should have taken it. Valhoon says Wrexham will be in League One next season. League Two, I think. Is that right? As far as I know that they're playing in like the one below League Two in the English football pyramid. I could be wrong, but I think they get promoted to League Two. I could be wrong though. Spencer says Mariners just need that Ryan Reynolds money at a TikTok sponsorship. That's right. Expected goals, the XG 0.54 for City, 1.41 for Newcastle Jets, which is actually an interesting statistic. Just goes to show that City City haven't really got themselves into really dangerous positions, apart from that one McLaren chance in the first half. Yeah. That one McLaren chance they had. City haven't really had a clear chance on goal. And that's credit to Jets, man. They haven't given them a chance at all. Spencer in the chat says, would love to see McGree in the Prem next season. Guys, we're going to come back to that because City with a chance here. Long range strike saved. Our wife for Talbot. Still plenty of time in this game. But I agree with you, Spencer. Would love to see McGree in the Premier League. Could get promoted with this side, Middlesbrough. He's been getting some good minutes at Middlesbrough in England's second division this year. Ryan McGree. Cross from Geordie Boss. Can't find a teammate. Another corner for City. Another corner. Yeah, dude, that long range strike just a moment ago took a deflection. Michael Ware able to make the save. He's had a great game today, Michael Ware. Kept his side in it. Mike Attilio, who's going to leave this corner for Borussia. Is this City's chance to break the deadlock? To break Newcastle Jets' goal. Good delivery. Cleared away. City appealing. Was there a hand in there? Naboot was appealing. Matt Yerman says no way. Gonna need to have a better look at it. Was there a handball in there? Pumpkin says still only 1-0. I feel like a Jets choke is coming. We're gonna have a look at this replay here. Oh, I don't know. Was it O'Neill with the handball maybe? Anyway, we've got a substitute here, Piscopo, who's had a decent game. Hasn't quite been too involved, but this really hasn't been the game for Piscopo to get involved. Coming off for Manabu Saito. Good change. Good player, Saito. Good player. Plenty of flair. Spencer says, thoughts on Reddy retiring? All these names I grew up watching, retiring, feeling old. Yeah, Reddy retiring. Who else retiring? Vukovic stepped down from international duty. He could potentially retire. Yeah, it's the end of a generation. Some of these players who've been here since season 1. But yeah, Liam Reddy stepping down from Perth Glory. Newcastle Jets have a chance to counterattack here. Saito fresh onto the field, right wing. Forward. Almost 66 minutes played now. Scores remain City 0. Jets 1. Throwing for City in a good position here. What is it going to take to break down this Newcastle backline, man? Have they been to a grand final? Any plans to go to Sydney if Mariners make it? If Mariners are in the grand final, 100% going. Have I been to a grand final? Yes, I've been to 2 grand finals. Just trying to remember. 2? Yeah, I've been to 2. I went to Newcastle Mariners in 2008 and Mariners Wanderers, where of course Mariners won that grand final in 2013. 2008, 2013. I'm trying to remember. I feel like I've gone to one more, but those are the 2 that I remember going to. City will get another corner here. Thomas Aquilina conceding the corner. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. If you're enjoying the stream, make sure you hit the like button. Good way to show support. Plenty of A-League Live watch-alongs coming up to finish off this season. City corner here. They're looking for the equalizer. City go short. Well done with the challenge there, Saito. Ball comes in. Michael Ware misses it, but everyone does. Goal kick. Goal kick for Newcastle. It's interesting. We were just talking about the grand final situation a while ago. I am curious to see who, whether people don't go because of, just in protest of the decision. But to be honest, I mean, if my team made it, I would still go. I mean, because Sydney isn't that far of a trip for me. Spencer says must have. Sorry. Spencer says must have been devastated when Raw beat Mariners 2011, 2-0 up, losing penalties. Very unlucky. Absolutely. I remember it very vividly. Very vividly. That was quite a shocking day for Mariners fans. Crazy grand final though. Chancey for Newcastle. Mikkel Datsy sliding it in. Glover claims. 68 minutes played. Valhoon asks, Matilda's watch along this week? Probably not going to do the Matilda's watch along this week. Looking at a couple of A-League watch alongs. So we're probably going to do the Melbourne Derby on Wednesday and then maybe a couple on the weekend as well. But probably not Matilda's this week. Matilda's, of course, playing Friday night Australian time. After a couple, that's a big Friday this week, actually. 2 A-League fixtures, and then 2 A-League fixtures, and then Matilda's. Your nightmare was one of my favourite moments. That's right. It was a dream moment for Brisbane, wasn't it? Well done on yesterday's game. We never had a chance. Yeah, it was an easy one in the end for the Mariners. Had a good run of grabbing those 3 goals in that first half, which pretty much won the game. Credit to Brisbane for holding on in that second half. Got a goal back. Could have been more. Could have easily been more for the Mariners. See, shifting the ball forward here. Barisha strike. Over the bar again. Valon Barish has worked hard this game. 70 minutes played now. 20 minutes remaining for City to find the equalizer. But the weight stands. Newcastle Jets are going to get 3 points and put themselves hot on the heels of Sydney FC, who currently sit in 6th place. Another corner here, is it? What's the corner tally at? Must be heaps. Alan Bruce has been busy taking these corners. None of them have worked out just yet. Delivery's poor again. They keep going to that near post and it just doesn't work out. Sergate was manning it on that occasion. O'Neill goes long. See, we'll win possession back again. This is going to be a situation where Newcastle might have to park the bus, I reckon. Hold on to the 3 points. Lone penalty to Mikkel Datsy's done it for Newcastle. Spencer asks, Who would you like to see Mariners play in the final? I've thought City, even though City and Adelaide are amazing, I'd love to see Mariners v Wanderers. Their matchups have been amazing this season. Would love to see that as well. I have to agree with you there. Especially, it would have been 10 years on from the 2013 Grand Final. So that would be a pretty momentous occasion. And look, two New South Wales teams. So if those two teams play, that you could probably see Allianz Stadium sell out, I reckon. So I'm with you there, Spencer. I reckon a Mariners Wanderers Grand Final would be great. And you're right. I mean, the matchups have been great this season. I mean, one win for Mariners, one win for Wanderers, and a draw. So each match between every match that the two sides have played this season has been pretty spicy. Pretty spicy. Two red cards involved the last time they played too. Man, you know who's barely touched the ball this game? Jamie McLaren. Has he even been playing? We've barely seen him. I mean, he loves this kind of game though, where he's just invisible and then pops up at the crucial moment. City shifting the ball down to the right hand side. Talbot in the box. Newcastle Jets players in the way. It's cleared away. Spencer says, even though my team has a one hand on the wooden spoon, indeed they do in terms of football, this has been the best A-League season in a while. Dude, this has been a great season, especially when you look at the fact that every week it's chopping and changing, especially that bottom six. Yeah, it's been a great season. Who will win? I'm back in Newcastle. I'm back in Newcastle to get 3 points here. It just hasn't been City's day yet. Another corner coming up for City though. Dude, we gotta find that. What's this corner tally at? It's got to be something ridiculous now. It's got to be double digits for sure, right? Let's have a look. Corner tally is at. Oh, it's at 8. 8 for City, 2 for Jets. Still searching. Still searching for this equalizer, City. Good opportunity, man. That was a better corner that time, but again, it falls through to Michael Weir. City building down the right hand side again. McLaren's header goes over the bar. Is that his first chance on goal? Aside from that, well, he did have that one opportunity in the first half. Newcastle preparing some changes. Timmins and Hoffman. Ooh, interesting question from Spencer. This is a very interesting question. Funnest interaction you've ever had with an A-League player? Good question. When I worked at the Central Coast Mariners, I did what do we do? Oh, I put together when I worked at Central Coast Mariners, I put together like a one of those fun little like a TikTok of the showing the Australia Cup kit. It's when we released the Australia Cup kit, and we did like the transitions where like they're wearing, what are they doing? They're wearing like the old kit or something. Oh no, they're just wearing like another shirt, and then they jump, and then when they land, they're in the new kit. That was fun. I remember doing that and shooting on when they were shooting the photos for the Australia Cup kit. So it was good fun. Changes for the Jets. Hoffman is on. Bahaji is off. And Timmins is on for Costa Grosas. So those are some defensive changes for sure. Meanwhile, Berenguer is going to come on for Mike Otilio, which is a fascinating change. I wonder if that means we're going to see Parisha potentially move out to the right-hand side. Berenguer play to the middle. Not working there anymore. Any chance you work together again? Potentially down the line. But yeah, I stepped down from the Mariners last year. But loved working there, man. Had a great experience. It was really cool just having the chance to, do stuff like that with the players, like do create the content and stuff with them. They're really good guys there. 77 minutes played. Up to this point, it's been total concentration from Newcastle in a defensive sense. Forward comes Jordan Boss. Good run. He goes down. Ref says no penalty. If that's the case, that's a fantastic tackle. Was it Thomas Aquilina with a challenge? Oh, what a chance. That was clutch. Clutch defensive work there for Newcastle. From Aquilina. Okay, Jets chance to spring forward here. Aquilina down the right. Saito goes back. O'Neill. Brandon O'Neill's had a good game. That's a fantastic pass. Great chance here for Newcastle. Cleared away by Thomas Lamb. Was it back in down the left? Cleared away again by City. At this point of the game, a second goal, I reckon, would secure 3 points for the Jets. Favorite Mariners play currently. What is Kowal like in person? I didn't have too many interactions with Garing, but from what I did, he seems like a really chill guy. Valhoon asks thoughts on the Canberra Auckland announcement. I actually did a video on that. I don't know if you saw it. I video on it a couple weeks ago when they announced it. Love it. I think it's great, and I'm actually a massive fan of the two selections, Canberra and Auckland. Got to get that New Zealand derby in there. Canberra needs a team. We've already got a women's team in there. So I love it. And it's really exciting that they're going to add another two teams after that too. So hopefully it all goes ahead successfully. Pumpkin says, asks, would you have been tempted to stay another year if you'd known you could work with Koala and Cummings this season? I saw the Mariners media manager. No, I stepped down. We were actually just talking about this before. Stepped down before the start of the season. But I had a great time working there. Speaking of A-League expansion, Spencer says, would like to see Tassie and Gold Coast getting teams next. On board for Darwin as well. Darwin would be interesting. But Tasmania and Gold Coast are two ones for me as well. I think those would be up there. I think those would probably be my two picks for teams 15 and 16. Tasmania and Gold Coast. People talk about potentially a second team in Adelaide or Perth. That could be interesting as well. I think we've got enough teams in New South Wales. I think Victoria's all right for now. But I think definitely second team in Queensland we need. And Tasmania would be great. Although the only thing with Tasmania, I reckon, is they would need they'd really need to build a rectangular stadium, hey? Because the stadiums that when Western United play down there, the stadiums they're playing are just AFL ovals at the moment, hey? Valhoon includes Townsville in discussion as well. Look, I'd be down for that to be explored again. Townsville. We obviously had North Queensland Fury based up there over a decade ago now. Darwin away day would be pretty fun, in my opinion, says Pumpkin. That would be interesting. I can't say I've ever been to Darwin. Has anyone here in the chat been to Darwin? I just know the weather's obviously pretty warm up there, huh? A little bit of chat here between Michael Ware and a boot. The boot's been pretty fired up this game. Wasn't happy with some of those refereeing decisions in the first half. Exactly. Darwin equals hot, even during these even during the colder months. Flying kick from Brandon O'Neill, just missing his opponent Brusher. Spencer says, I'd be more keen on getting teams in areas that haven't been touched. I agree. Says, I think MacArthur was a bad choice. West United should be full-time in Tassie. I'm okay with the MacArthur Western decisions. I think I'm in the minority in saying that. But I think that's all we need for now in terms of third teams in Sydney and Melbourne. Chance here for City. Oh, great opportunity. Just behind McLaren. Dude, that was his chance. We were talking about it a moment ago. McLaren just shows up in the crucial times, and he almost did on this occasion. Oh, it's just behind him. Just behind him. Andrew in a boot, looking to tee it up. How many times have we seen that combination? McLaren's left flat on the floor. Going back to expansion, Spencer saying should be 2 teams per city. I mean, that would be ideal, right? You could have the derby. That's why I'm a big fan of the Auckland team, because you can get that New Zealand derby, which would be really unique. I think that would be awesome. And Newcastle coming forward here. Chance here to strike. Good challenge in here. I mean, credit to City, who, even though they're committing numbers forward, are still holding on defensively. They know that they can't concede a second. Still on here for Newcastle. Is this Saito? He's on side. Cutting it back. O'Neill regathers. "84 minutes played now. City 0. Newcastle 1. Valhoon says MacArthur should play games at Penrith Stadium. Not sure if they already do. I think they've played a couple there. I played the Mariners at Penrith Stadium last season. It'd be interesting, but it's sort of a bit out of their area. I feel like Penrith is more Western Sydney Wanderers territory. Yeah. It'd be interesting, though. Spencer says West United should be a Tasmanian team, in my opinion. No, I might be the only one saying that. I've definitely seen other people say that before. Definitely seen that come up before. I'm excited to see what they do once they set up the stadium and everything, though. I think once they get their home ground set up, which is currently in construction, it could be really exciting. Is the flag staying down here? There's a chance for Newcastle to score 2 here. And they've done it. Is the flag stayed down? No, it stayed down. Bizarre moment there for Mikkel Dadzi. That was a very bizarre one. I think it's offside. The flag stayed down when the run was made. Was it offside? Yeah, it was offside. Just offside. Newey Jets hoping to hold on for the win. Damn, that would have won it for them. Philip Cancar's about to come for Newcastle Jets. Hasn't gotten too much game time. He's coming on for Matt Yerman, who's been solid in defence. Not long to go. What content can we expect to see in the coming weeks? Plenty of watchalongs. We're going to do a handful of watchalongs for the final rounds. And got a video coming out actually next week talking more about the expansion. And something actually that I noted when they were talking about expansion is that there was 11 other sites they were looking at for A-League expansion. So I'm going to do a video talking about A-League expansion and what that could mean for the future. And obviously talking about finals. When it comes to finals, there's going to be plenty of content as well. So keep an eye out on the channel for that. City shifting forward with the advantage. Long range strike. Cleared away. Man, 87 minutes played now. 87 minutes. Valenbush is down. Ooh. Spencer asks, what do you do for work? I assume you mean now that you left the Mariners. Actually, when I'm not doing football stuff, all this stuff, I'm actually a musician, so I do a lot of music work. So that's what I do when you don't see me here. I want to go to the Albania. Oh, to the that's a hilarious autocorrect. Newy Jets was saying I want to go to the A-League Grand Final. I assume you mean that's a hilarious autocorrect for it to go from A-League Grand Final to Albania. That's great. Yeah, man. I'm sure it's gonna be a good one. That's right. Visit Borussia. Cleared away by Kankar. Jets under pressure here. 88 minutes played. Jets still holding on to their 1-goal lead. Strong challenge from Boss, flying in. It just hasn't been City's day, has it? Hasn't been City's day, and they're holding on. Mark Natter's on the field as well, by the looks of things. Or was that a shot at the sideline? Well, A-League All-Stars versus Socceroos now. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Timmins evolved in a little bit of a wrestle there, taking down Borussia. He was just booked, wasn't he? There's going to be a offensive change here for City. Borussia coming off for Max Caputo. So another striker coming on for City. They're chasing the game now. McLaren in a half and half jersey. Imagine that. Final stages of this game. Injury time. Can Jets hold on? This could be a huge 3 points for them. 4 minutes of injury time. City still chasing. Cross comes in. Man, Jets have just dealt with everything. Jets have dealt with everything so far. City looking to come forward again. Down the left-hand side. Cross comes in. Decent ball. Throw in. Oh, what's going on here? Are we checking something? Thought referee was having a look at something there. Geordie Boss goes short for Curtis Good with a throw. Down the left-hand side, City come. Good ball. Cleared away again. Not long to go. Glover sends it long. Nata wrestling with Naboot. Andrew Naboot played in a grand final for Newcastle Jets. Now trying to lead his City side to a point. Corner. Berenguer to take. .92 minutes played. Corner comes in. It's in. City equalise at the death. It's Caputo. Max Caputo. With his first ever goal in the A-League, is it? Heartbreak for Newcastle. They've held on for so long. Michael Ware couldn't get himself to it. Fantastic header. Brilliant header. Past the outstretched hand. Oh, could be a massive point for City. Could be a massive 2 points lost for Jets. Wow. Pumpkin says classic Jets. Caputo with his first goal. And it's just his fourth ever appearance in the A-League. Wow. After a valiant performance from Newcastle Jets. They've held on for so long. It looks like it's going to end a draw. City 1, Jets 1. What do we make of that? Wow. What could that mean in the context of the league overall? Let's have a look at the table, man. Here's how the table stands. It's a point that just lifts City. 2 points clear of Adelaide. City would love to get a win in the derby. That would give them that buffer back above Adelaide. Newcastle Jets, who are going to jump to 7th, now sit in 8th place behind Jets and Sydney. One all. And that's full time. Crazy game, man. City won, Jets won. Jets look like they were going to hold on for all money. It didn't look like City's day. Max Caputo on late. Rescuing a point. So the way it stands, City just 2 points clear of Adelaide, which could prove to be a massive point in the run for the Premier's plate. And Newcastle Jets dropping 2 points is massive because they were level on points with Sydney FC. But conceding that late goal, oh, it's heartbreaking for Jets, man. New Jets, his last 2 games, we've conceded late goals from set pieces. The race starts Adelaide for the Prem for sure. Adelaide still with a great opportunity. They'll be hoping that their rivals, Victory, will get a win over City in the derby next week. This week, I should say. Crazy, crazy scenes in this game, and it's going to make for a really exciting run-in with the last few weeks of the A-League season coming up. City still sitting for top place. Jets 8th. Newcastle Jets still without a win in their last 4 games. They'll be scratching to their heads in terms of how they didn't manage to win this one. Spencer says Raw will hand Newey the wooden spoon next week. I mean, Newcastle could still finish bottom, of course. Any of those teams in those bottom 6, bottom 7 could still finish bottom. Going to make for a crazy finish to the season. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate it. Hit like on the stream if you have enjoyed it. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you stay subscribed to the channel. There'll be a number of watch-alongs coming up over the final weeks of the A-League season and into finals. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a good one. See you in the next one. Cheers.